Welcome to our channel, Behind My Story. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Having a hobby is great, and it's even greater when this hobby turns into a source of income, which will increase your motivation because the more you develop your hobby, the more income you will generate. And the more income you generate, the more your fame and fortune will grow. So if your hobby leads you in this direction, you will have achieved success. But let's look at another circumstance. Suppose you had no real talent, and therefore success was unlikely. And then, out of the blue, some fluke event happens and thrusts you into the fast track to success. Something like this happened to me. Are you anxious to hear my story? My name is Marcus, and I'm 19 years old. Dad was a farmer, and Mom was just a housewife. I was the youngest of my brothers and the only one to rebel against our old family traditions. By tradition, family descendants were expected to make a living in agriculture, and if you chose not to, then you were ostracized for breaking the family tradition. All my brothers towed the line and worked in agriculture alongside Dad. One brother even became an agricultural engineer and used his knowledge to improve Dad's processes. I didn't object to my brothers pursuing agriculture, but I had other ambitions. I also had a hobby that I was reluctant to tell my family about. I loved photography, the rare shot that embodies one's feelings in a picture. Beautiful, elegant shots made me feel like I was flying over the moon. I reveled in the details of every picture, the skill required to take it at just the right moment. Whenever I would watch a documentary video or a video of a bizarre event, I would feel immersed in the experience. Several times I tried to convince Dad to buy me a small video camera, but he always refused, so I decided that I would have to buy one myself. So I worked with the family in agriculture while saving up some money, but I soon found that the savings rate was too low, and it would take too long to buy a good camera. So then I got an idea. I could work 2 jobs and save money faster. So I got a second job as a construction worker. It was difficult and exhausting work, but the money was good. Finally, the day came when my savings were enough to get the camera I wanted. So I bought it, but decided I'd best hide that fact from everyone to avoid the inevitable criticism and accusations of being stupid and traitorous. But eventually the day came when I decided to lower the boom. I told my family that I was quitting agriculture and moving into photography. They were shocked and tried to persuade me to change my mind, telling me that I was just chasing an illusion. Dad even threatened to punish me if I spoke of it again. Reluctantly, I saw no choice but to leave home, so I packed my luggage and my remaining savings and left them with nothing more than a farewell letter. I went to the big city to find my dream. I didn't know what was waiting for me there. I searched for jobs as a freelance reporter. There were very few opportunities available because I didn't have the requisite qualifications and experience. I rented a small apartment and made home pages on Instagram and Facebook. I began advertising myself as a photographer for events and couples. Some customers came my way, but my income was still too low to survive long. So I studied tutorial videos and the work of others to hone my skills further. Meanwhile, I had bills to pay: apartment rent, food, utilities, clothes, medical care. I began to feel depressed. Then I remembered my family's warnings about my dreams being a mistake. I had my freedom, but no money. Then something happened that changed my destiny in a heartbeat. I was sitting with my camera at an outside restaurant table along one of the main streets, waiting to hear from anyone who might have seen my home pages to contact me with a gig. The traffic was heavy, and I decided to shoot this very normal scene of everyday life in the city. Suddenly, I heard a loud voice coming from the end of the street where I could see a fuel truck that was moving fast towards traffic stopped at a red light. I heard the driver shouting, "No brakes! No brakes!" I knew an accident was imminent, and my instinct told me to start filming. An old man was sitting in a car stopped at the light, with the fuel truck approaching him from behind. The man in the car was looking at his cell phone and listening to music with headphones on, so he was oblivious to the approaching danger from behind. The driver continued trying to warn people. Suddenly, the man in the car looked in his rearview mirror and saw the fuel truck looming larger and larger, coming at him without slowing down. Then the fuel truck smashed into the man's car. The light had turned green on the crossroads, and cars were starting to move perpendicular to the truck's forward motion. When the truck hit the man's car, it pushed the car forward, and the car and the fuel truck came to a stop in the middle of the intersection. Cars crashed into both sides of the truck and fuel tank. All cars came to a stop. Spellbound, I continued shooting. Some policemen were nearby and rushed to the scene. The fuel truck was leaking fuel all over the intersection. Drivers were dashing out of their cars and running away from the crash scene as fast as their legs could carry them. Any spark or stray cigarette would instantly turn that intersection into an inferno. I positioned myself away from the intersection, but with a clear view of it, and continued filming. Then it happened. A spark, a flame, a horrible explosion blasting cars through the air like litter thrown into a trash can. There were numerous collateral injuries, but most of the people had gotten far enough away to avoid fatalities, as near as I could tell. The explosion and its shockwaves caused me to lose my balance and drop my camera. Panicking, I drove down to snatch the camera in mid-fall, right before hitting the pavement with my head. Ambulances showed up, then I lost consciousness. I woke up in the hospital bed with a splitting headache. The TV was showing the news, which was reporting the explosion. Eyewitnesses had accused the truck driver of being the cause. This was my moment. I was the only one who had filmed the accident as it happened, and the only one who had documented proof that the truck driver had lost control of the truck and tried to warn people. I grabbed my cell phone and sent a message to the news people telling them that I had exclusive video of the accident. They were willing to pay a hefty sum of money for my video. A prominent, reputable news channel contacted me about my video. A female journalist and her editor met with me. The editor offered me a job as a reporter for his news agency. So I got a good sum of money and a job from this otherwise not so lucky turn of events. I felt that fate had rewarded me for my courage in pursuing my dream. I was relieved that my dream had been fulfilled and that my hard times were hopefully over. So I called my family and told them that I had found a career that didn't involve agriculture. I told them that one had to pursue his dreams to find one's own true destiny. I knew that I had found mine. They weren't thrilled to hear about that. What can I say? All of us feel lost at some point in our lives. If you have ever faced such a time, defining your goals may have proven problematic at best and impossible at worst. Some people choose good goals but pursue them in bad ways. When this happens, somewhere along the way, some people may discover that they have chosen the wrong path in life and need to make a mid-course correction to get back on track. Lend me your ears, and I will tell you a story that showcases such a time. My name is Alan, and I'm 21 years old. Dad passed away a long time ago, and Mom had to raise me alone. She did her best to raise me well, but I turned out to be a bad apple. I was angry about life, about our poverty, about Dad's death, about my life circumstances. This anger fed on itself and became destructive, negative energy. I embraced vandalism, theft, and malice. When I was young, I would steal food from grocery stores and then turn around and taunt them with my theft of their goods. I loved to see their looks of hurt and outrage. I would bully the younger kids in my neighborhood and steal their lunch money. Then I took it up a level and formed a street gang to extend the range of my foul deeds. Mom tried to calm my anger, warning me that I was making a lot of enemies. At 15, I started dealing drugs. It was a lucrative business and my profits grew. I offered Mom money to raise her up out of poverty, but she refused to accept a penny from my ill-gotten gains. So she remained poor while I lived a life of luxury. I eventually had to leave the house because she couldn't condone my criminal activities. I knew all the police patrol routes and easily avoided them while running my drug business. Things were going well until one of my gang members got caught and turned on me in return for a plea bargain. This forced me to relocate to another city, but before I left some money with Mom. I knew she wouldn't use it, but I made the gesture anyway. It was the least I could do to repay her for raising me. In my new city, I decided to start a new chapter of my life: weapons trading. This business was even more profitable than drug trading, and I soon became a millionaire. I had everything: cars, money, a nice villa, and things were looking up. Then one day, I received a phone call from one of Mom's neighbors telling me that she was very ill. So I decided to risk being captured by the police to drive home and visit her in the hospital on her deathbed. She hugged me, and I asked her to forgive me. She told me that she never hated me for my illegal lifestyle, but was just worried that I would be killed or otherwise ruin my life. She asked me to change, stop my criminal activities, and adopt a legitimate lifestyle. Then she died. And I cried. After the funeral, I turned myself into the police and confessed all my crimes. I did this to grant my mom her dying wish.